How's it going, everybody? Got another tasting session today, and tonight we are smoking Cornell and Diehl small batch Sansepolcro. I don't know if you can see that. You can probably see it about like right there. This is from 2020. Production date May of 2020. I opened it probably a month ago, and it's gone now. There's basically nothing left but dust. Couple, there's a handful of somewhat decent sized ribbons and then dust, essentially. This one was kind of a hard one for me to get through because I didn't really enjoy it. I think I had something else in mind, what this was going to be, and based on the tin description, and I haven't had an experience that matches the tin description so much. So tonight we're smoking a little Dublin made by a guy named Chris Asquith. I think he's out of England. And I don't usually do this in the videos, but I'm gonna kind of mention some of the things that are on the tin description. Aromatic, so it's red Virginias, and then it's a dark fired, essentially a dark fired. It's not a Kentucky. I don't even know what you would call it. It's a dark fired tobacco leaf from Italy, and how it got its name is Sansepolcro. Is that leaf is grown in the Sansepolcro region of Italy, and my understanding is they use it a lot in like their cigars, or maybe I don't know if on rolling tobaccos, but I think like mainly in cigars and things like that. Maybe they're chewing. I don't know. But it says aromatically spicy with earthy clove-like undertones. The singular dark-fired leaf is grown and double fermented in the Sansepolcro region of Italy, which boasts a history of tobacco cultivation, blah, 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 blah. Combined with mellow citrus and bread-like notes of the reds, it makes for a wonderful melange of flavors. So they're saying the dark-fired Italian is earthy, spicy, clove-like, and then, the Virginias are citrusy and bready. I don't know if it's just like the idea that they use it in cigars or whatever, but I have trouble when I smoke this blend finding any notes that I don't associate with cigars. To me, it's just very reminiscent of a cigar. And I'm not the biggest fan of smoking pipe tobaccos with cigar leaf. If I'm going to smoke a cigar, I'm going to smoke a cigar. I get the earthy clove-like undertones, and I kind of get the spiciness. I'm thinking that where this blend really kind of falls short for me is because I don't mind the earthiness and the cloviness and the spiciness. I think where it really falls short for me is I think that those Virginias just don't have the power to carry it. I don't really get a lot of the tangy sweetness, or the citrusy, or the grassy, or the bready. It just doesn't really, and to me, I don't detect it very much. It doesn't really come across that much. It's just sort of like this blast of like sort of a mild cigar flavor. I could see how there's a lot of people out there that would probably, and I purposely don't look at reviews of things before I do a video because I don't want any sort of influence or anything like that. Every once in a while, I'll look at a review maybe after the fact and see, um, what people might have said about it, because I'm curious. But um, I don't. I am kind of curious what people think about this because I'm just not a very big fan. Um, I don't think it's particularly interesting. Um, in that I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of stumping me a little bit, and this is why it's taking me so long to do a video. Um, I'm gonna start getting the reputation of being a Cornell and Diehl hater, which I'm not. I'm definitely not a Cornell and Diehl hater. I haven't found a blend of theirs that I find interesting enough to stock away a lot of. Um, Probably the closest thing for me would be like Sunday Picnic. Um, but the problem with Sunday Picnic is I believe that Embarcadero is a better version using they use very similar tobaccos, and I think that GLP's Embarcadero's kind of the better version. So if I'm going to stock away something like that, I'm going to stock away Embarcadero. Um, and yeah, it's tough. I mean, Briar Fox was pretty good, but I'm not running out buying 10 tins of Briar Fox. Um, I don't know. I'm not a Cornell and Diehl hater, but I'm starting to almost feel like it because there's just nothing there that's like super interesting to me. And I know I'm probably in the minority. At least I'm assuming because I know there's like hardcore haunted bookshop guys or hardcore, you know, uh, Bayou Morning or Pirate Cake guys. I know there's hardcore Autumn Evening guys. You know, some of the um, aromatic aromatic guys out there, but for me, I just haven't found that thing. I'm still looking for it, and they got a lot of tobaccos to smoke through. So I may be looking for a long time. But I'm really not a Cornell and Diehl hater. I love that they're a U.S. company. They it was a mom and pop shop. It's grown into a thing. I think some of the family of the original owners are still involved though. So I like that. I like that story. Um, I'm kind of 50-50 on the small batch things. On one hand, I like that they do small batch because it lets them do things that are interesting, and it gets people exposed to certain leaves that maybe wouldn't have been exposed to if they didn't do small batch. Something like Sansepolcro, it kind of gets that out there so people can experience that maybe, and they wouldn't be able to experience it without Cornell and Diehl doing a small batch. Maybe they wouldn't even know about it. I didn't even know that they grew tobacco in Italy, at least on a larger scale. So, I think it's good in that way. I think I don't really like the sort of like the Black Friday feeling of small batch stuff where it's like, rush, 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 get it now, and it causes people to buy, their limited tins, and then they get it and maybe they hate it, I mean, that's I'm not a big fan of that, and I don't actually even know if they've even released another batch of Sansepolcro after 2020 because this was released in 2020. So I don't know if they did one in 21, 22. I don't know if they plan on doing one this year. I don't know. I think I have one other tin of it, and I'm probably just gonna stash it away for years, um, and see what and kind of see where it goes from there. Um, yeah, so I think I like the small batch thing in that if it's getting people exposed to like interesting or rare or hard to find leaf that normally you wouldn't have any idea about. I kind of like that. But there's some trade offs. Like I said, they only made I think 8,000 tins. So if you don't get it, you don't get it, and that's kind of a bummer. I don't like people don't get it, or maybe they don't have the funds to get it at that time. Because of whatever life. So that's kind of a bummer. But I mean that I guess that just is life. In terms of the actual notes, it hasn't really changed much. It's very reminiscent of cigar. It's woody and earthy, clovey, a little bit spicy, and I just don't get a lot of the Virginias. I'm not a blender. Jeremy Reeves is a blender, and so I don't really want to question how he does his job. I think just by tasting this, I think if I was in his shoes, I probably would have wanted to try to bring the dark fired. I would have. This is what I would like to smoke. I would like to smoke Sansepolcro, but I would like to try it with, say, 7% less, 5% less of the dark fired leaf. Um, and add in 5% Perique, and then take out maybe 5 to 10% of the red Virginia, and throw 5 to 10% of like a lemon Virginia or something like that in it, or maybe even a higher percentage. Just take maybe try splitting the red Virginia, whatever the if the red Virginia is 70%, right? Maybe bring the red Virginia down to 50%, do 20% of lemon or bright Virginia. I think I would like to try that just to kind of give that a little bit more of like a zing, a zest to the blend. I think that would be like I said. I don't want to talk. I don't like talking bad about anybody, but I think that I personally would be much more interested in a blend like that. A little bit less the dark fired. Introduce a little bit of Perique, a little bit less of the red Virginia. Introduce some bright Virginia, and see where you're at. Um, I think that would maybe it would maybe punch up a little bit of the fruitiness, the fruity sweetness, add a little bit of tangy sweetness, and sort of tone down that cigar, that heavy cigar flavor. I think there may be a way to get the Italian dark fired clovey spicy nature to come through without sort of like, in my opinion, that like very obvious cigar quality. Um, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a blender, so I don't really know how all those things work. Um, but it's fun to dream. So anyway, if that seems like something that you might enjoy, if they're making other, I don't know if you can get this year, maybe on the secondhand market, but if they're doing other years, that's maybe what I should do. I should probably look into if they did do other years, and maybe they did change it a little bit. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But until I take a look, that's where I'm going to leave it at. And if they do release more of it, but it's the same ingredients and seems to be about the same thing, I'm probably gonna pass on it. So if it's something that you really liked, there'll be at least a couple more tins out there to grab. So that's pretty much it. I think I got a couple other tins open, so I got a couple other tasting sessions coming pretty soon. And one of them is another Cornell and Diehl blend, which I've smoked a half dozen, 6, 8, 10 times so far, and it's pretty decent. It's a little early to tell how much I like it, but so far it's been I've enjoyed it. So we'll see how that goes. So until next time, adios.